Hello, hard-headed fans. Here we are. We're back at it for episode 7. Lot to cover in this episode. As you know, March Madness first weekend just finished. Wow, what a crazy weekend it was.
Was it
I'm
crazy, Bus?
obviously,
Was it
I'm
crazy? How
obviously
crazy was it?
really, oh, Spinny. It's starting already, isn't it? I knew this was
You know it
happening.
is.
I knew I was gonna get hate. It's only right. It's only fair. So I guess we might as well just jump right into this recap of the first weekend. Uh, it was
What's
insane.
that? I want you to read that first line of the round of 64 there. What that says. I can't quite. My eyes are having trouble today, so I can't quite read it.
Okay, since Spinny is deciding to be a rat for episode 7, the biggest upset of round 1, round of 64, was 15 seed St. Peter beating the 2 seed Kentucky 85-79 in OT. Obviously, this one made me super depressed. Let me just go on a quick rant about Kentucky here, Spin, before we dive into these other games. That was honestly at least during my tenure of a UK fan, which I bandwagoned the UK with John Wall. So it's been quite a while. So over 10 years, this is for sure the most embarrassing moment of my tenure as a UK fan, no doubt about it. And this is definitely the lowest moment of Coach K's tenure, or Coach Cal's tenure at Kentucky. He he had terrible subbing and terrible matchups. He refused to change the matchups during that game, and he continued to get exposed over and over and over again. Obviously, he doesn't deserve the entire blame, but Cal gets some of the blame for sure, if not most of it. And going forward, if we're not able to do anything in these next 3-4 years here, I don't know that Cal might be on the hot seat. If he keeps struggling these next couple of years, he might get on the hot seat. It's been 7 years since we made a Final Four. It's been 3 years since we won a tournament game. Obviously, there was a COVID year there, so basically only 2 years, but still, it's we've been struggling for a while now, and then to lose to a 15 seed that was in their first ever trip to the tournament, so not even an experienced team, is just absolutely unacceptable to me, and unacceptable to the rest of the Big Blue Nation. So going forward, we need to fix some things. I don't know if it's new coaches, new recruiting system. I don't know what it is, but it's clear that something needs to change, and hopefully, hopefully going forward we get this figured out. But so I'm a little disappointed, obviously super depressed about how Kentucky finished the season, but obviously I'm Big Blue Nation for life, Big Blue Nation forever. So we're gonna rock it out. Gotta ride through the lows and the highs, right? So that's my little
So,
spiel about Kentucky.
most biggest player to blame for the loss.
Biggest player to blame for the Kentucky loss, I would say. I think there's a 1A and 1B. I would
Okay.
put I would put Severe Wheeler and Kellen Grady as the 2 main guys to blame. Um, Keon Brooks probably a close second behind those 2, but I would equally say those 2 because Severe, his shot selection was not good in that game. He can't shoot at all he's not a shooter the way it is, so he should be looking to attack, get in the paint, things like that. His shot selection was not good, and Kellen Grady, our best 3-point shooter, was just complete no-show for the last 5 to 8 games of the season. So for him to be our by far best shooter, also a grad transfer, so he has tons of game experience, has played in the tournament before with Davidson, things like that. He has a lot to blame because he was absolutely terrible against St. Peter's. So was Severe. I would say those guys were the 2 guys to blame the most, but everyone else is pretty much equally to blame after that. Besides Sheway is the only guy I'm giving a pass. He had 30 and 16. So what more do you want him to do? So I'm giving Sheway a pass, but the rest of the team, straight choke nation. I'm still in shock. Days later, here we are Monday morning, and I'm still in shock about what happened on Thursday night.
I feel like Kentucky does, to come to Kentucky's defense a little, I feel like they do get a little bit of a more of a pass because St. Peter's is looking good. I mean, Murray State was looking good, and they dubbed them too. So I mean, not that they get a pass, but St. Peter's won another game, so it was a little bit more than a fluke.
Right.
Let's see. So now that I'm gonna let your suffering be over for a bit, and we'll move on
Thank
to
you.
a couple more round of
Thank you.
64 games. Richmond, Iowa. That was my personal hatred the most because, like an idiot, I decided to have faith in a Big Ten team and had Iowa in my Final Four. So that wasn't very smart, and so that was bracket busted like game 3 of the tournament. So sweet, extra sweet. Let's see what else. UConn was a team I had a lot of faith in too, and they got dubbed. So I don't know. New Mexico State.
They got dubbed.
New Mexico State is good, and they gave Arkansas everything they could handle. So they were good, but yeah, I had more faith in UConn. Any of these last 3 games you had some big interest in? We had 3.
I would say those
more
11s
11s
are all
ones than
about
6s.
yeah. So we had 3 11s win in the first round, only 1 6. These games are all about the same tier for me in terms of shock. I kind of expected the Iowa State and Notre Dame one. I would say the Michigan one surprised me more just because Michigan had been struggling the most, obviously, out of all those 11 seeds this season. So that one surprised me a little more, but I personally picked Iowa State to beat LSU. I honestly don't remember my bracket, but I had good ideas that Notre Dame could beat Bama just because of the inconsistency Bama showed throughout the season. So those weren't as big of shocks to me, but still, they're obviously upsets. 11-6 is upset. I personally don't consider 10-7 or 9-8 upsets. That's why I didn't throw them on here. I think those matchups are pretty damn even. So I never really consider those upsets. 11 to 16 seed is what I consider to be an upset. So except obviously in like the round of 32, we saw UNC 8 seed UNC beat 1 seed Baylor. That's obviously still a huge upset. But as far as the first round goes, yeah, I was also really shocked about Iowa and UConn for sure. Those were huge shockers to me just because I thought those were 2 teams, Iowa and UConn, that is, that could make a run. So for them to get bounced right away, that was really surprising to me. But Richmond was a no-show in their second round game. But as you said, yeah, Rich what? But as you said, New Mexico State,
Coach Carter.
Goat movie. But New Mexico State, they played really well against Arkansas too. So to take a team that I thought could make an Elite 8 run in a different region, UConn, to beat them and then to almost beat Arkansas, another team that I thought could make an Elite 8 run, that was pretty impressive to me. So I don't really have any more thoughts about the first round games, but it was another year of madness. Another year of madness for sure.
It was awesome. I had the week off this week, so Thursday and Friday were spent with my 3 TVs in my living rooms, taking in every game. It was beautiful, beautiful couple days. All right, round of 32. Couple teams that appear in both these rounds. Michigan and Iowa State getting the 11-3 upsets. Also, I just want to talk about Michigan a little bit. They are a real team. Obviously they have a lot of 5-star recruits, and before the season, people were high on them, but then throughout the season, the amount of inconsistency and obviously Juwan Howard drama and all the rest of the
injuries too.
Injuries, yep. And Michigan had so many crazy ups and downs, but they beat two real teams, and maybe classic me overvaluing Tennessee because they choke all the time too. But I thought they had it this year, and but Michigan dubbed them, and they're a real team, and they play against my cheering for team this year. So that'll be a fun next round. But Michigan is valued above an 11 seed, and then the next thing is the Iowa-Wisconsin game, and I only basically have one thing to say about that, and that is ha! Because Wisconsin sucks. That's tough for you guys. Goodbye. You're sitting at home.
Goodbye.
For you.
Yep,
so that's tough. That is tough. Hold that L, Wisconsin.
Special shout out to my mom, who is somehow a Wisconsin fan. Hold
Fleury,
that L,
come
mother.
on.
Hold
Come
that
on,
L.
Lori.
I know she's going to listen to this episode at some point, so hold that L, mother, for sure. But I thought the Miami game too was crazy, just because Auburn did not show up whatsoever, and as you predicted, Spinny, a couple weeks ago, you said that Auburn could struggle in this tournament because of how inconsistent their guards are and how they handle the offensive load when it's clear that they shouldn't. Last night when I was watching the game, I immediately thought about you saying that during our March Madness preview, because that's exactly what happened last night. Auburn's guards just tried to carry the game, and it was insane. They were driving, 1-on-2, turning it over, chucking up bad shots. It was really bad to see. I'm not going to lie. Miami, on the other hand, looked absolutely terrific. They were 100% ready to play, on both ends of the floor. So mad respect to Miami. I'm not taking anything away from them, but Auburn's game plan, Bruce Pearl's got a lot to blame there. For him to just let the guards continue to do that over and over again is just unacceptable to me. You got a lock for a top 3 draft pick on your team, and he doesn't even seem to be the go-to option. So,
dude, there was so much time in the second half where Jabari Smith wouldn't touch the ball for like 5 minutes
right.
on
And
offense. It's like, what are we doing? Like, we got it. Like what? Like, I understand that Miami was big on taking him away, and they did a really good job of that. But
yes,
multiple possessions in a row where you're not at least getting this guy a ball touch, it's like, what are we doing?
he's literally not even touching the ball.
Like, yeah, he's sitting in the corner or sitting on the block. Yeah. It's like, what are we doing? Like,
yeah.
And their other post is good too. They got to get him
Kessler.
the ball too. Kessler, yeah. Sheesh. It's like, but yeah, that's what I predicted. And Miami has some of the best guards in the country. The best three, their top 3 guards are insane. And so when Auburn tried to go guard play, Miami's going to dub them at that. So they just didn't play to the strength they needed to. And Miami's front court played extremely well on the defensive end. I will give them that. But they out, part of that was the players' play, and part of that was Miami out game planning front court defense against Auburn. So they had, like you said, I think Bruce Pearl missed some opportunities there, which I think he has shown a habit of doing consistently.
Right.
Over the years.
He has definitely shown that. Miami, again, mad respect to Miami for all the reasons you said. They definitely won this game. So I'm not taking anything away from Miami. They definitely outplayed Auburn in every aspect. It's not only that Auburn choked. So it wasn't that type of situation.
Agreed.
It was a little of both. Auburn choked and Miami played like a legit Sweet 16 team. So Auburn, they, for some reason, just decided, let's go guard heavy on this offensive game plan here, when in reality what they should have been doing is working inside out, getting post touches and then kick it out for threes, get cutters off the post touches, things like that. So they definitely didn't play that game the right way at all, and that's why they ended up losing 79-61. The game was a little closer obviously than that throughout the game, but Miami pulled away at the end. So that's the end of Auburn's season there.
That's it.
How about the UNC game? What did that one I picked in my bracket? I had UNC over Baylor, so I wasn't shocked like a lot, but I was still, a little shocked that they were actually able to get it done.
Yeah, I was more picking that because I kind of was skeptical of Baylor than I really had faith in North Carolina. But they've played well. I mean, goodness gracious, we got our friend Derek is a big North Carolina guy, and he's been chirping in our March Madness chat every day, and I just got to give him credit because I was a doubter too. I thought they were mid, and they obviously had a lot of crappy moments during the season, but they came ready to play, and you got to give them credit. North Carolina obviously with Roy Williams had a history of making Sweet 16 runs as low seeds, but apparently we're continuing the tradition. So
Yeah, they're legit. What's their coach name? Hubert Davis, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Hubert, he's a really good coach. I like Hubert Davis a lot, and Brady Manick was absolutely insane in that game against Baylor. He had like 20 some points and got kicked out with 12 minutes left of the game.
Shout out to
For
Baylor though, too, for that comeback.
comeback, yes.
Like obviously it was because he got flagrant two'd, and as soon as he was out, the whole game completely changed as far as North Carolina's ability to score. But Baylor came back from down 25 with 10 minutes left and tied the game, forced it to overtime, and then North Carolina went to overtime. Beautiful game.
Yeah.
That's the cool part about college basketball. Those type of games are the beautiful part of college basketball. That was a wonderful game. The Gonzaga and Memphis game,
That was amazing.
that was sick. Memphis would have won that game if they could have stayed out of foul trouble. Jaylen Brown and all three of their bigs had had three fouls with about 8 to 10 minutes left. So it's tough. Yep. Two had 4 and one had 3 with 8 or 10 minutes left. So it's really tough when you're doing that. But in the first half, Duran was bodying Holmgren, and Timmy couldn't score on whoever big it was. But then you saw when Duran got the 4th foul at the beginning of the second half, that's when Timmy went on that run where he literally couldn't miss. He just couldn't miss them. He couldn't miss them.
No, and they're unguardable shots, honestly.
Yeah, so that was credit to Drew Timme. But anything else? How about the St. Peter's game?
St. Peter's, they played really well once again. I know you briefly mentioned it a while ago, but they showed out just the same way as against Kentucky. They were in control the whole time against Murray State, a team that only had 2 losses, I remember, right? Maybe 3. I think it was 2, though. So to beat a team like that with only 2 losses after you just upset a good Kentucky team, that's another big upset for St. Peter's. And as we know, or maybe you guys didn't know, St. Peter's becomes the 3rd 15th seed to make a Sweet 16. So only 3rd ever. So this is an absolutely historic run by St. Peter's. So
joining Florida Gulf Coast and Oral Roberts is the only other 2 15 seeds or lower to make the Sweet 16. I just got two quick personal things I got to mention. First about St. Peter's, the Drames, love them. Love how they play. Love their game. They are hilarious. The expressions, the blocks, the effort. Those guys are awesome. Love them both. Love how they play. Second thing was really cool if you saw after the game with Juwan Howard and Kennedy Chandler, Tennessee's best player. That was pretty cool, little embrace there. Kennedy Chandler's a hooper, been really a stud, and
he'll be a first round pick.
Yeah, that was obviously his final game, so that was a cool little moment from an opposing coach. As much as Juwan Howard has got ripped this year, and obviously his actions weren't awesome, given that he's a coach, but even though they were instigated by the other coach, so fault both ways, but you can tell Juwan Howard really, really cares about players, not just his players, but growing the game and really cares about these young guys. And so that's a really undervalued thing, I feel like, especially in coaching these days, especially in like the D1 sports level. So I thought that was a really cool moment.
Yeah, it definitely was. And I just urge media people everywhere to replay that video as much as they replayed the scuffle, the fight between Juwan and what's his name, Wisconsin's coach. I don't even care to know his name. That's how much I hate Wisconsin.
Facts.
But yeah, that was a great moment, definitely, for sure. Well, I think we should dive into our brackets. So we made a little round of Sweet 16 brackets here. They do have on ESPN Second Chance Tournament Challenge. If you guys want to go check that out and play, we just made these quick little brackets. So first up is Spinny's bracket. I'll let him kind of talk you through his picks.
Yeah. All right. So I guess we'll start at the top. We'll start with Gonzaga and Arkansas. Arkansas has played well. I think they could have a shot in this game. I just feel like the inside presence of the Zags is going to be better. Texas Tech Duke. Texas Tech's defense, very, very good, obviously. They could give Duke some issues, but I think Duke does well on the defensive end. And obviously, if we got the Paulo, Mark Williams, and Wendell Carter, if those three keep performing at the level that they are, I think Duke has that game. North Carolina, UCLA. Like I said, I just got some belief in North Carolina. They've played extremely well. They're big there. I'm spacing his name right now, but he's amazing. Yeah, he's amazing. And UCLA's got their wins, but they haven't looked the greatest. I think they get a little scoring inefficient at points, and they'll go on big runs where they can't score. So a little worried about that. But yeah, go North Carolina. Purdue St. Peter's. I think that it finally comes to an end for St. Peter's. I think that Jaden Ivey is too good to be guarded by anyone on St. Peter's. I think he's going to light him up. And obviously, their inside guy there for Purdue too. He's 7 feet tall, so I don't know if St. Peter's has a guy that can match up with him. So I think he's going to eat. So I think Purdue ends that there. All right, then we'll flip to these. So there's my two Final Fours, Duke or my Elite Eights, and then I'll jump to the other side. Then we'll come back, go in that order, so we can stay in the same round. Arizona, Houston. I'm gonna go with Arizona a little bit sketchily. I think Houston has played very well. I gotta get a little bias going with Arizona. My fiance is in the top 3 of our 60-person March Madness bracket. So, and she has Arizona winning it all. So I got to give Arizona at least a little 1-round faith so that
that's where
she can win some money.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where that came from a little bit. I'm borderline. I'm 50-50. That just pushed me over a little bit on Arizona. Houston could definitely win this game. Michigan, Villanova. Little scary for Michigan because they've been hooping and their big is really good. And Ed Dixon and Jermaine Samuels are 6'8" and 6'7", so it's going to be interesting guarding a size there of Nova. But Ed Dixon did a wonderful job on Liddell from Ohio State in the last game, and so I think they'll play up to their goodness there. And if they keep getting the dribble drive, the 3-point shots off the dribble drive, and Moore and Daniels and Gillespie keep shooting 45% from 3, then I think we got a good shot. That's the big thing with Nova that they've done in this tournament, and I was low on them. I didn't know if they'd make it this far. I thought Ohio State could beat them, but their 3-point shooting has been consistently dagger. So if they can keep that up, it'll be good. Kansas Providence. I'm taking back my big sleep. I said Providence was going to lose in the first round. They have played exceedingly well and proved me wrong. And Kansas has been sketchy. Like, they've got some wins, but I don't like their play that much. So we're just going play versus play here, picking Providence. Miami, Iowa State. I don't think Iowa State's going to score on Miami. Iowa State has so much scoring trouble, and Miami's defense is insane. So I think Miami's a much better team. We're going there. All right, so now we got our Elite Eight. We'll jump back to the top here with Zags and Duke. And honestly, I think the winner of this game is going to be your champ. I think if the Zags win, they will win. And I think if Duke beats Gonzaga, and with all the momentum that gives with Coach K's last year and whatever, and given my other Final Four teams that you are able to see if you're on YouTube here, Duke's the best team out of that. So I think the winner of this game wins, but I'm just going with my gut here and picking Duke. I think the Williams, Banchero, and Wendell Moore combo gives the Zags some troubles. And I gotta shout out my TikTok commenter here, Ocon PW. You were roasting me for my Duke over Texas Tech take. So we'll see. We got it this week. We got Duke's Texas Tech. So just know that if you're listening to the pod or this will be on TikTok, I'm gonna roast you. If Duke wins. So. All right. So we're taking Duke there. North Carolina, Purdue. I think Purdue just has too much talent. I will give myself credit before our March Madness preview, I was very high on Purdue, and they've shown me that they can play at that level. I just think there's too much talent for Purdue over Duke. I think Ivy makes a real difference there. All right, Arizona and Nova. We're going with the heart on this one. Arizona has had a lot of ups and downs in their play, and I think matchup wise, Nova matches up very well against them. And it's just I have more faith in Nova consistently getting buckets based on they have 6 to 7 guys that can get you 10 to 15 on any given night. And so I think that's hard to guard, and they've shown that consistently so far in these first 2 games. So I got faith. I'm going to go with Nova. Miami, Providence. Low seeds don't usually make it this far, so I'm taking a big jump here. But given how this tournament has played out in the matchups, I think Miami. I love Miami. I love Miami's play. So I'm going to take them. Duke, Purdue. Like I said, at this point, I think Duke's momentum and rolling is going hard here, and I'm going to take them over Purdue. Purdue could very, very, very well win this game, though. This would be it. If we get Duke, Purdue, or Gonzaga, Purdue, that's going to be a really, 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 really good Final Four game, I feel like. So I'm going with my gut here and taking Duke in that one. Nova, Miami. These are probably 2 of the top 3 or 4 guard teams in the whole country this season that are based on good 3-point shooting and consistent guard play. So this would be another really fun one. I really wanted to take Miami here, if I'm being honest, but low seeds almost never ever, even if they do make the Final Four, I can't think of one as in my lifetime that's made the championship game. So we're gonna go with the high seed and the talent here, and Villanova. So then we got Villanova Duke, and if this is the championship, I just think that Duke has more offensive talent than Nova. Nova could win this game. This game would be very dependent on the Powell and Jermaine Samuels matchup. 2 guys around the same size. Paul's a little thicker, obviously, but Samuels has been Nova's second best player in this whole tournament, other than Gillespie. He had 5 blocks in the last game. He's like he's the classic long, decent shooter, but really good driver defender that Nova has. You know, the Mikhail Bridges type guys. He's a little more of a big than Mikhail, but the Robinson Earl type guys. That's who Jermaine Samuels is. But I just got to go talent here, and I think if they get this far, Duke's on a mission, and it'll be something for them. So I'm gonna take Duke for the winners this year. I think it'll be Duke or Gonzaga. Those are my top 2 teams that I think win it. Duke, Gonzaga, Purdue, top 3. If I had to put them in order of teams I think have the best chance to win. So that's me, and let me know what you think. Let me know where my reasoning was crappy or good. And now I'm gonna sit back and let Bus throw his bracket up. Maybe he'll comment on mine first. Give me a little comment on mine, Bus, and then transition.
My comment on yours. I'm in agreement for, I would say, the majority of the bracket. I have same picks, I would say. I do think, however, Providence's run is going to end right away with Kansas, and we're a little different in that Texas Tech Duke matchup. But I 100% agree. If Duke beats Texas Tech, I do think the winner of Gonzaga and Duke will be your national champion. So I don't have any issues with your bracket. I do like you putting Miami in the Final Four. Obviously, that's a stretch and probably won't happen. But like you said, the way the tournament has been playing out, that is definitely a run that can happen. So I do like that stretch there for you. And overall, I do like your bracket, very realistic. And I thought your reasoning was very realistic and good as well. So I don't really have any issues with your bracket, to be honest. Just a couple disagreements. As you can see, my bracket here, I got starting on the top, Gonzaga, Arkansas. I think just too much size there for Gonzaga. They're not going to be able. Arkansas won't be able to match up with Timmy and Chet, so that's just too much size. Zags will get it done. Texas Tech, Duke. I'm going to go with Texas Tech here in this matchup, mainly because in my bracket I have Gonzaga, Texas Tech, so I just kept it the same. But I think Texas Tech in the half court, they can stop Duke. They have an elite defense, And if they can make the game a half-court game and keep Duke out of transition, then they can win the game. So that's kind of my prediction. It'll be a half-court game, and Texas Tech's a little better in the half court than Duke is. So I'll go with Texas Tech there. North Carolina, UCLA. I'm going to go just the tournament experience and go with UCLA here. They made the Final Four, obviously, last year and have a ton of their guys back, including their best three players. Jaime Jaquez, drawing a blank on the dude with the crazy hair, that point guard, and then Johnny Juzang. So those three players, I think those three guards, they'll be able to get it done and beat North Carolina. Purdue, St. Peter's, that's the end of St. Peter's run in my eyes. There's just, like Spinny said, there's just too much talent there for St. Peter's to guard. Jaden Ivey, 7-footers everywhere. So I just think that's too much for St. Peter's to handle. I hope they get it done, though. I hope St. Peter's upsets. At this point, I want St. Peter's to just go as far as they can because it's just fun to see. So I'm going to be rooting for St. Peter's, but I definitely think Purdue will win this game. The other side, Arizona, Houston, this is a straight 50-50 toss-up in my eyes. I'm going to go with Houston just because they're playing a little better at this moment. They played really well last game. Arizona, on the other hand, went to OT with TCU last night. So I just think Houston has a little more motivation, a little more edge to them. So I think Houston's going to be able to get it done there. Michigan, Nova, like Spinny said. Wait, who was guarding EJ Liddell?
Ed Dixon.
Oh, yeah, Ed Dixon. So I'm thinking Ed Dixon, he's not going to by any means shut down Hunter Dickinson, but he will slow him down and control him like he did EJ Liddell, I think. So, and I think Colin Gillespie is just going to stand up. He's a good vet. They got Jay Rice, their coach, who's obviously made numerous runs and has won titles before. So I just think that's going to give Nova the edge in that matchup. So I have Nova over Michigan. Kansas, Providence. I got Providence's run ending here in the Sweet 16. Kansas, I think, is just too good. They're too deep. They got weapons everywhere at all three levels. So I'm going to give that edge to Kansas. Miami, Iowa State. I'm really looking forward to this game. I think this is going to be a really even game. But as Spinny said, I question Iowa State ability to score the basketball. And they definitely, I don't think, can score at the same rate as Miami. So I'll give Miami the win in that game for sure. Then we go back to our Elite Eight, Gonzaga, Texas Tech. I think Gonzaga, again, it's just got too much size there, too much talent, too much experience. They're going to win, go to the Final Four once again. The bottom, I got UCLA and Purdue. I'm going to give the slight edge to Purdue just because they're bigger. So I think that'll just be too much to handle for UCLA. But that'll also be a really interesting game to see how Purdue's inexperience in the tournament matches up with UCLA's vast experience. So that's going to be an interesting game. See how that lines up and how that ends up playing out. I think on the other side here, Houston, Nova. I think that's where Houston's run is going to end. Nova just too talented and too experienced for Houston, and I give teams that have coaches like Jay Wright the edge because Jay Wright's won 2 titles, right? Doesn't have 3, does he? 2. So, proven winner, amazing coach. I just think and that's not taking anything away from Houston because Houston's very well coached, very great team. But I just think Nova's just going to be a little bit too much for them. I am putting a lot of faith in Colin Gillespie. I think he's just going to continue to knock down shots as this tournament progresses here. And then the last Elite Eight game, I got Kansas, Miami. I think Miami's run ends there. Just too much for same reasons as other games. Just too much talent for Kansas. So they'll just end up pulling it out. Then we got Zags, Purdue. As I said at the beginning of my little spiel here, and as Spinny said as well, we think the winner of that region is going to win it all. So I just think Gonzaga is just too good for Purdue, and they'll just finish that one out, squeak it out. It's going to be a close game for sure. It'll probably be upper 70s to upper 70s, I picture. But I think Gonzaga will squeak it out. I think Nemhard is going to be knocking down shots all game. And when you got Chet and Timmy down low, that's just too much to handle. Nova, Kansas. This matchup, I think, for sure goes in Kansas' favor. They just have too many weapons for Nova, I think, to defend. But at this point, Nova might have enough momentum to beat Kansas. So if this is the Final Four, this will be a really interesting game. Nova will obviously be the underdog to Kansas, but I definitely think that could happen. But I'm going to give Kansas slight edge. Think Oshai Baji, their vets they got Braun, they got McCormick, they got just loaded of vets, and then they got the coach. Like I said, they got a coach that's won and has been here before, Bill Self. So I'm going to give Kansas slight edge, which makes my championship Gonzaga versus Kansas, and I'm going to give that to Gonzaga just because I'm relying on the Chet Timmy duo just being too much, and McCormick for Kansas can only guard one of them at a time. So I'm thinking Timmy or Chet, who's ever not being guarded by McCormick, is going to have a field day in the championship. And again, just more experience for Gonzaga, Nemhard, Timmy. They played in the championship last year. So I'm going to give the slight edge to Gonzaga. I got Gonzaga finishing it out and winning it all this year. But I am 100% in agreement with Spinny. Obviously, this might not happen, but the winner of Gonzaga's region, I think, is going to win it all. If it's Gonzaga or Duke. If Texas Tech pulls it out or Arkansas, I don't think they'll win it all. Texas Tech or Duke, if they win that region, they're going to win it all. Is my prediction as well. So we're in agreement there.
I like it. I think you had a lot of good points. A lot of the things you said I pretty much agree with. And as much as I hate Kansas, Bill Self is a good coach, and that gives you a nice advantage, or at least evens the playing field, where Nova has obviously a better coach than Michigan and Houston. But one thing I wanted to add quick before we finish this off, the most important player left in the NCAA tournament is Andrew Nembhard. If Andrew Nembhard is aggressive and driving and played like he did in their last game, the Gonzaga is unbeatable. Like, very, very difficult to beat. If he is aggressive and hitting his shots like he has been, they are going to be exceedingly difficult, because if they can play inside out with him and Timmy and Chet, if he can get like 15 points, 5 assists with decent efficiency, Gonzaga is a very, very, very hard team to beat. Just got to give a shout out to OG Florida guy there, Andrew Nembhard, stud.
For sure. Yeah, like you said, if he is doing that, I'm in complete agreement there, because then that just makes it tougher to guard Julian Strother, Hunter Silas, their Nolan Hickman, their other guards that they got. So if Andrew Nembhard keeps playing with that aggressive mindset and looks for his three-point shot and his attacks, they're going to be pretty damn tough to beat for sure. So yeah, those are our little predictions on the rest of this March Madness. Hopefully the games remain competitive. Great games, hopefully, is the main thing that I'm looking for.
Agreed. I think both our brackets are busted at this point, so we're just trying to get some good games. Should we move on from college basketball? Sorry to spend 40 minutes on college basketball for y'all, but it's that time of year and we love it. So
yeah, and it's a little fair for us to do that, given that last week we made you guys wait so long into the episode to hear about March Madness. So we wanted to start with March Madness, give you guys a little more detailed breakdown. So that was our March Madness spiel. We're going to shift gears now and jump to baseball, because as you baseball fans would know, there's been a lot of crazy news happening. It's been a wild MLB offseason for sure since we got this lockout finally ended. The main news, we're only going to talk about a couple main signings and trades here. Oh my gosh, I just got a notification. I do need to break this news. We finally get to break news on this pod.
I got it too.
Marc-Andre Fleury traded to the Minnesota Wild. That is a huge trade for the Wild.
Let's go, Marc-Andre
Fleury. I think
he's obviously old, but that's a Stanley Cup winning goaltender. And if you've watched any Wild hockey this year, went on a huge scoring run at the beginning, then Cam Talbot gets hurt, and we can't stop goal to save our lives. Sieves since then. So a Marc-Andre Fleury pickup for an crazy offensively talented Wild team. Let's get it. We got a
I
Minnesota
think
Smart that's not going to be awful. Let's
they're a contender
go.
now. They're a
Let's
contender
get
now.
it.
That's crazy
Wonderful
news.
trade. Wonderful trade.
Yeah, so we just had to throw that in there real quick. Back to baseball. All right, this one is kind of shocking to me. I guess not. It wasn't crazy, but a little shocking to me how they did Freddie Freeman dirty here. But the Braves, they signed Matt Olson, 8 years, $168 million. According to Freddie Freeman, he was not aware that they were pursuing Matt Olson whatsoever when he was trying to get his contract worked out with the Braves. So he was blindsided and taken back at that, and definitely felt insulted. So I don't know, Spinny, what do you think about that move to go with Olson instead of Freeman?
So Olson's younger, right?
Yeah, Olson's
Olson's
27,
younger.
Freeman's 32, I believe. So
Yeah,
5 years
31,
younger.
32. So that's a big thing. So they got Olson for 8 years, 168. And Freeman went 6, 162 with the Dodgers. So even if they were willing to give that same number, then they got Matt Olson for a lot cheaper, obviously, given
Yeah.
yearly. It's hard for me to do math in my head, but obviously, given that Olson only got $6 million total more for 2 more years.
Yeah.
So Freeman, 27 mil a year, and Olson 21 mil a year. So a little bit of a savings there. But I still think Freeman's a better hitter right now if I had to pick between the two of them. And the Dodgers getting him is obviously rich getting richer. Betts, Bellinger,
Oh,
Freeman, Turner, Muncy, Taylor, Pollock, and who's their
Dodgers are
catcher?
just at Will Smith.
Yeah, so AJ Pollock and Will Smith are your 8-9 hitters. So that's always good. You
Yeah,
could do
you got
that.
Taylor Smith and Pollock at the end of your lineup. So
Yeah. Sweet. Plus, did I even say Trey Turner? They still have Trey Turner too. So
yeah, they do.
so I didn't even mention him. Nice.
Yeah, of
All
course.
right.
Well,
So yeah, I do think the Braves did Freeman dirty. Obviously, he said that he had no idea about any of it. So I get it's a business, but Freeman basically was the main component in bringing y'all a championship. So I think that he should have got a little more respect than that. But I get it; it's a business too. So it's tough though.
yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. I understand it's a business, just trying to save money, which is ultimately why they went with Matt Olson. Not far off in terms of production, and as we said, is younger than Freeman. So I get the move, straight business move here. They could have, though, done it a way different way. They could have at least informed Freddie Freeman, their guy that's been there for how long now. And as you said, huge reason why, if not the main reason why, they won a ring. So just to do him like that, not even inform him of what's going on, that's a little dirty to me. So it was no surprise. Obviously, when they signed Olson, that opened the door for Freeman to leave. But still, though, it's just I wish they would have done that a little differently. And now we get to watch the Dodgers be even more stacked, which is pissing me off because they're just way too good at this point. So if they don't win this year, that's a straight wow. That's one of the biggest chokes for sure because their lineup is just absolutely insane. Absolutely insane.
And they still have a top 2-3 pitching staff. I mean, you got to
Yeah.
give the Mets some consideration now with the Scherzer DeGrom combo there, but yeah, still a great pitching staff and an unbelievable rotation
Yeah.
for the
Top
Dodgers.
three pitching staff, solid bullpen, and probably the best lineup in baseball. So yeah, that's a major choke
Yep.
if they don't win the World Series this year. Next news. Big news here as well. Trevor Story, 60 years, 140 mil with the Boston Red Sox. Spinny, I know you like your Boston teams a little bit. Why don't you tell me how you feel about this signing?
I thought it was a good signing for them. I'm not a Red Sox guy, first of all. I'll start with that. I'm pure Twins guy when it comes to baseball.
So you just like all the other Boston teams?
I mean, just the Celtics and the Patriots, yeah. I don't care. The Bruins, Brad Marchand annoys me, and the Red Sox, I just don't care that much about. Twins are better.
Well, definitely screw the
Um,
Bruins.
yeah. So Story, I'm just gonna connect this all because this is how I guess we kind of processed it here with our Minnesota lens. But Story was linked to Minnesota a lot at the beginning, and so I was kind of that's where I thought this was going. But especially after the next thing, which is the Josh Donaldson trade, you wanna give the viewers those deets.
Josh Donaldson and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa traded to the Yankees for Gio Urshela and Gary Sanchez.
Yeah, and so for the Twins, that obviously cleared a big money number with our cheap ass owners that aren't gonna never spend money. That was obviously a big thing, was getting that money cleared and making the Yankees pay that. And so when that happened, I thought it was Story. I thought Story was going to be our shortstop, and that's where we're going, and that's kind of what the stories were. And then all of a sudden, breaking news, for literally the first time for the Twins in Major League history, they get the top available free agent, and that was Carlos Correa. Carlos Correa, details, 3 years, 105. Obviously high pay, 35 a year, but at that 3-year window for a guy in his prime, I think it's beautiful. Also, opt-outs after the first and second year. So I just think it's very team friendly and player friendly. If it's not working out either way, they can just end it. But it gives the Twins that really good shortstop that they need. And Correa is a top 5 shortstop. So as much as I'm not a fan of his, and I think he's a cheater, and will never be a fan of any of those Astros guys, as a Twins fan, I'm happy to have Carlos Correa's bat and defense on my squad. So that's a middle of the lineup hitter. So I guess to put that all together, Story after that, after the Correa signing, Story went to Boston right away. And so it was later on, two stories about Story were leaning towards Boston. They kind of emerged, but yeah, so that was kind of crazy, blew my mind from our Minnesota perspective how it all worked out. But yeah, that was kind of covering all 3 of those deals there. So I've been talking for too long. So give me your thoughts there, Bussy.
Trevor Story, that was an amazing signing by the Red Sox. Obviously, the best free agent available once the Twins picked up. What'd you say?
Story's going to play second base. That's
right.
That's kind of a little developing story there. I'll let you roll on.
Right. So Story will be second baseman with Xander Bogaerts on the Red Sox already. This just a great signing by the Red Sox, I think. And it's definitely makes them a better team than the Yankees for sure, which is absolutely always amazing to me.
Hot take.
Hot take. That's not a hot take. We got Devers.
Who do the Red Sox have on their pitching staff? The Yankees still have Garrett Cole, remember?
It doesn't matter. Last year it was the same type of situation. The Red Sox still finished better than the Yankees. So it's going to be the same thing for the Red Sox to have that good of a lineup and then add Trevor Story to it. I mean, they literally have Devers, Bogaerts, and Trevor Story are their third baseman, shortstop, and second baseman. That is absolutely insane to have. And yeah, so they're better than the Yankees, which is always amazing to me. I'm not a fan of either team, but I do like the Red Sox more than the Yankees. So it's always fun to watch.
I just hate the Yankees more than any base. I hate the Yankees the second most of any team. So
any team across all sports,
any baseball team. Sorry,
who's most then?
The White Sox.
No, Yankees are obviously the most hated team. White Sox,
Frick
second
the
most
White
hated
Sox. Twins
But-
biggest rivals. Gotta hate them the most. Come on.
I am enough talking about the Red Sox for these Twins moves. Though I was really happy to dump Donaldson's contract. He's not worth $20 million a year anymore, and I don't know what the hell the Yankees wanted Donaldson for. So I don't really understand this deal from the Yankees' perspective. So whatever, I guess for them, we got to dump Donaldson, and we just got Kiner-Falefa. I was pretty excited about having his defensive versatility, but whatever. We don't really need him. Got Gio Urshela, who's a quality guy, played third base for us, and Gary Sanchez has obviously been struggling last 2 years, but he's had some good years. Power hitter, available to play DH and catch for us. So that's decent there as well. And then to get Correa is absolutely insane to me. I'm not super into the contract like Spinny is. I think 35 mil is way too much. I don't think he deserves to make more than 30 mil. That's way too much. But at the same time, I do understand that we had to pay him that much to get him to come to Minnesota. So I do understand that side of things. And then I do like the opt outs that, like Spinney said, makes it more player and team friendly as well. So we got a guy. I'm just happy that the Twins, cheap asses like are usually are cheap asses, finally go out there and sign a guy. And not only they finally make a move, they actually sign the best available free agent, which is even more mind-boggling. So great moves by the Twins here. I'm excited to see Correa and Polanco up the middle for us. Polanco obviously will play second now, but that has a chance to be one of the best middle infield duos in the MLB, if not the AL for sure. The only immediate ones that pop up better would be obviously the Red Sox now with Story and Bogarts. So, but yeah, I think I'm excited for the Twins. I think they're going to be. I still don't think they might not even make playoffs yet. Still, we need another pitcher, but this just makes our lineup exciting and gets the fans ready for sure.
Yeah, it makes it fun. I also like that even if he does decide to stay the full 3 years, we get him for his 27, 28, and 29 season. That's the prime of every player's career, essentially. Yeah. So I hate the baseball you sign him for 10 years and the last 4 years are crappy situation that happens a lot. So I really like that from the Twins' perspective too. Yeah. So I think that was the main MLB stuff.
Yeah,
super
that was
exciting for us personally, and some crazy stuff happening around the league. So this offseason overall, and we're going to talk about this more with NFL, but this offseason overall has been awesome across every sport. Super cool. Lots of trades, lots of crazy signings and stuff. So it's been sick for us sports junkies. So, all right. Now I think it's time for
trivia.
One of these days, y'all, we're gonna get some music design, so we'll actually have a little trivia thing that comes across. But for now, you just get us twinkling our hands and saying trivia weird. So here we go. All right, who's starting?
By the way, we probably should have done this right away in the beginning, but slightly new scoring format. Easy points are 1, medium points are 2, hard points are 3. That'll just help us not have ties as much. So we're gonna go with that. Who's that? You ask me first.
Me ask you first? Okay.
Easy
question. We're having a women's sports theme today. So easy question is, which soccer player was named FIFA Women's World Player of the Year in 2019?
This is easy.
Probably it's the easy question, so yeah. You gonna tell me who it is, or? It's easy, huh? Super easy?
I don't know anything about soccer, so I don't. What was the question again?
Which soccer player was named FIFA Women's World Player of the Year in 2019?
Well, it was obviously a U.S. player.
Yes, probably the most famous U.S. women's soccer player in the last few years. Not probably, definitely.
Why am I drawing a blank on her name? Oh my god, I can picture her face. I'm gonna go because the only name I can think of right now is Alexis.
She's married to Sue Bird. Married to Sue Bird.
See, I know it's not Alexis Morgan, but that's literally the only soccer name I can think of right now. God, what is her name? Oh, Rapinoe.
That's correct. Megan Rapinoe. Yes.
Megan Rapinoe. Let's go.
There's one.
I thought for sure I was gonna get that wrong. I can't believe it. Rapinoe finally came to my head. I was picturing her face.
You could see her face
the entire time. I was like,
there's a cool mural on the side of a bar right by Allianz in St. Paul of her and her like the when she kicked the goal to win. Yeah. And so that's what made me think of that. Super cool.
That is
All right.
a very cool picture.
What do you got
Your
for
easy
me?
question. Kind of like a three-parter, but I mean, this is an NFL question, so you'll get this right away. Who you gotta give me first name, last name for these players. I'm giving you 3 nicknames. Who are these players?
Oh, nice.
Megatron,
Kelden Johnson,
Beast Mode,
Marshawn Lynch,
and Primetime.
Deion Sanders.
Good. That's a point for Spinny.
1.
I knew that was gonna be easy enough. So
That
I
was
didn't
good.
want
That
to
was
do
good.
just one nickname because that'd be too easy. So I threw out
Yep.
three known nicknames for you.
That's fair. That's fair. All right, medium question. We're 2 points. How many gold medals did Simone Biles win in the 2016 Olympics? Gold medals, 2016. This is the record-breaking one.
5? Final answer?
Gold medals, 5. Final answer?
I want to say 4, but I'm gonna go with 5.
Correct answer is 4.
No! I knew it had to be 4 or 5 because I couldn't even think of that many gymnastics events. Damn it! I should have just gone with 4.
It's tough.
All right. Your medium question. Going MLB here. When was Carlos Correa drafted and what pick?
Oh, same year as Buxton, so is it 2011 or 2012? Or is it 2013? We're going to go 2013, and he was the first pick.
You were close. 2012, first pick.
Ah! Dang it!
Yeah, I knew you were going to get the first pick. That's why I had to include the year there, too.
Close. All right.
That's tough.
Fine.
Makes you feel better. I didn't get my medium either, so.
Yep.
All right, give me the hard.
Hard. And I'll accept, you don't have to get the team name. I'll just accept the city if you get it too. City or team name, either way. Which team won the first 4 WNBA championships? They won 4 straight, the first 4 at the creation of the league.
Can I get another hint? You put a line down the middle of the country. Is it on the west or east?
I don't know. I don't know the answer.
Put a
to
line
that.
down Minnesota.
If you put a line east-west, it's in the south. If you put a line across the middle of the country east-west, it's in the south.
I'm gonna go.
I kind of gave you 2 hints there because I couldn't tell on the Minnesota line up down, and it's on the south, the east-west.
Right. So that makes it. Let's go. I have no idea. You said it'd count if I gave you a city, so I'm just gonna go city. Let's go. I'm trying to even think of the city. All right, just give me an. I have no answer, honestly. Louisiana.
Come on. New Orleans?
I'm going New Orleans. Yep.
Answer is Houston. The Houston Comets.
What do you mean you don't know? If you put a line out in Minnesota, Houston's
Texas
to the west.
Texas like straight south of Minnesota. Maybe a little bit west, but not too much.
So what school was it?
It was a professional team. Houston Comets. I said which WNBA team won the first 4 championships at the creation of the league?
For some reason, I thought we were talking about college basketball.
No, sorry, tough for you. All right, what do you got? We're tied still.
Yeah, we are still tied. Bruce Brown Jr. and Lonnie Walker were college teammates on which team?
Miami Hurricanes.
Yep, correct. You win.
Let's go!
4 points to 1. Spinny's
L's
the
for
winner
Buzz.
this week.
That one's too. Let's
You
get
knew that?
it.
I thought that would be
Yes,
hard.
sir. Lonnie
Oh.
Walker at Miami? Come on.
So I should have just said Bruce Brown.
Then I wouldn't have known, yeah.
Oh, dang it. Oh, that is tough. I wanted to throw Bruce, or I had to throw Lonnie on there because they were in the same draft class. So I was like, this is a good two to throw in there. They're only two of the three Miami players in the NBA. So
I remember Lonnie Walker's hair from Miami and him balling out with his dope hair in the tournament.
yeah, I was just looking at alums from the teams that are still in it. So I wanted to do a question related to that. So I just threw the Miami one in there. Well, there we go.
There it
Trivia.
is.
What
Two
I think
straight
is like
trivia W's for me.
no, I won last
No?
week. Yes.
Oh, so it was 2 out of 3 for me. I won 2 weeks ago. Okay, fine.
Yeah, but I won last week when we had 3 people, so that means more.
It's true. It's true. You did. I sucked
All
last
right.
week though, but you sucked this week, so it works.
That was it for trivia. I took the L. Is what it is. NFL news. Another crazy week. Start with 2 minor or not as significant news. We got Robert Woods traded to the Titans for a 2023 6th-round pick, and Juju signs with the Chiefs, 1 year, $10 million. Basically 1 year, $3 million with $7 million of incentives. So obviously, a great sign about Chiefs. They don't necessarily need another weapon, but obviously, always great to add weapons for your elite quarterback, Mahomes there. And Woods, I think that's a great trade for the Titans as well. They cut Julio. They need another guy. Hopefully, Woods comes back strong and is healthy after that ACL tear. So I think Woods and AJ Brown, that's a nice little 1-2. Handing the ball off Derrick Henry too. So I like that.
Yeah.
I like that moves.
I like it. I like both those moves. I'm surprised the Rams traded Robert Woods. I thought they were going to go Woods, Robinson, and Cup. I thought that was the plan. That would have been nasty.
That would have been nasty.
Apparently that wasn't the move, so they moved on from Woods. They haven't re-signed OBJ. I know that's the biggest talk is him going back there. So we'll see if that's maybe what they're thinking. But he obviously wouldn't be able to play until at least later in the season. So, and the Juju move, great. Obviously the Chiefs really don't have a WR2. I mean, Kelsey is WR 1.5 basically with Hill and him are basically your top 2 targets, but then they don't really have an actual wide receiver 2. So I think that he feels that really good. And obviously it gives him some potential. Like Juju was looking good at the beginning, and then he had all that weird off-field stuff and kind of up and down, and Big Ben can't throw and all that type of situations he fell into. So I think he could blossom into something like we thought maybe he was going to be with Patrick Mahomes. So I think that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, it always helps when you have Mahomes as your quarterback.
Agreed.
Now, the main news that happened this past week, Devonte Adams traded to the Oakland Raiders. Wow. That absolutely blew my mind. I honestly thought the Packers would be able to get a deal done. I knew the reports were far apart the entire time, but I just assumed with getting Rodgers back that they're going to be able to get it done. And it's interesting who the hell is Rodgers throwing to now? So it's interesting from the Packers' perspective what they're going to do now after they just lost Devonte Adams. But in terms of the Raiders here, that was an amazing move for them. And wow, just another elite player in the AFC West. Wow, this offseason has been absolutely insane. All 4 of those teams are insanely good. So it's going to be mind-boggling this season watching those 4 teams battle it out.
AFC West dumb loaded. And I get it from the Raiders' perspective. Obviously, they have the 4th best quarterback. Derek Carr is still a top 12 to 15 quarterback, but he's obviously the quarterback 4 in that division. So when you got the worst quarterback, what do you go do? Get him the best weapon in the league. Devonte Adams is the best receiver in the NFL. They obviously have that connection from Fresno State playing together in college. That's pretty dope. they've always talked about playing with each other. Obviously, I still think they overpaid. I mean, a receiver making $28 million a year is absolutely nuts to me. But sometimes you got to do it. And the Raiders have the ability to do it with their cap space and stuff. And they needed weapons, you know? And I think the Waller, Adams, Renfro, and Jacobs, that's a pretty good 4 guys for Carr to have. And obviously, you're going to have to keep up with points in the West with Mahomes and Herbert and Wilson. So I think it was a good move for them. They overpaid, but sometimes you have to overpay for top talent. That's all it goes. That's how it goes in life. That's how it goes in the NFL. You want top talent, you're gonna have to pay for it. And I think the Raiders did it in a position they really needed it.
And not to mention that Derek Carr and Devonte Adams are college teammates as well. So they're good friends. They have chemistry already. So that's obviously another reason why they wanted Devonte Adams so bad and why they gave him so much money to pair him up with their franchise quarterback. So great moves there. It's going to be interesting.
That was a really great point when I said it right before you two.
Oh, I must have blanked out during you
said. I just had to roast you. I couldn't let that one go. So, but yeah, good points. I think it was good for Adams. Next trade, obviously huge. Obviously got a lot of points on off the field, on the field stuff. But Deshaun Watson traded to the Browns for 3 firsts and 3 firsts and what? I forgot what else.
2 seconds, I think.
2 seconds and 3 firsts. Yeah, that's what I was going to say too, but I wasn't positive. And the Browns get Watson in a 5th, I think. But basically Watson for 3 firsts, 2 seconds.
Oh,
and then some other flick flack. But
yeah, then they turned around and gave him the most guaranteed money of all time.
Yeah, 5 years, 230, fully guaranteed contract. Despite still having 22 civil sexual assault lawsuits against him. The Browns say they did their research. Big article came out, whatever. The lawyer representing these 22 people came out in a statement the next day and said the Browns never once contacted him to do research into Watson. So if that's true, that means it's classic Browns BSing us and just trying to look good when they only care about winning football games. Because if you are not...
Which they don't do.
Yeah, which they don't do still. But they only try to care about winning football games and then still lose all the time. Yeah. But if that's true, that's really disturbing to me, I guess. The first place I would call to do my due diligence on a player in a situation like this would be the prosecuting attorney. I want to get the details. Give me the crap. Give me the evidence. Give me what you got that you can. I don't know. Obviously, ongoing investigations. Who knows what they can actually reveal and all that. But that'd be my first call to at least get the perspective that he has on the situation. Or she, I guess I don't know what is the gender of the lawyer, but I just think that if that's true, that's bogus. And I think that even if it's not true and they did do their due diligence, getting a guy with 22 civil lawsuits against him, $230 guaranteed $1 million is the most classic Browns ridiculously ever. It's just another check on the Browns are crazy bandwagon. And I love Deshaun as a quarterback. If it was just about that, I'd give him $230 million guaranteed too. I think he's a top 10 quarterback with a lot of upside. But you got to take this into consideration, especially when their big shots on Baker was not being a leader or a locker room guy or representing the organization professionally.
He wasn't grown up enough.
Yeah, grown up enough. Sweet.
Yeah.
Yep. Nice.
So,
awesome.
So Baker's not grown up enough, but a guy that's still facing 22 allegations of sexual assault / harassment is grown up enough. So that's
sweet.
Funny logic by the Browns. Once again, just I have said it zillions of times on this podcast. Just a pathetic franchise. Just insane to me to offer that much kind of money to a guy that's still facing these allegations. Most likely, again, suspended next year, regardless of what happens. to this
That's the other thing.
with these cases. So and as Spinny said, it's clear they did not do their due diligence in looking into this at all whatsoever. It's it's like the Browns think it never happened. So, which is not true. Just because there's no from what I read too, it does from what I read about there not being legal charges, criminal charges, that didn't really mean that much. When
No.
that didn't even mean that much in terms of did he actually do it or not. So, but everyone is taking it as, oh, he clearly didn't do it if he's not getting criminal charges. No, that's not what that
It's not
means.
how that
If
works.
that's clearly how that worked, then all 22 people would have dropped their civil case too, but all 22 women still have their civil case against Deshaun Watson. So I think that means something. And again, you are innocent until proven guilty, all that, blah, blah, blah. And I don't want to speculate if he is innocent or not, but the facts are that he still has these cases against him. And the Browns still traded that much to get him and then offered him the most guaranteed money in NFL history,
Yeah.
more than Pat Mahomes. So, like,
And
just
and
that doesn't make sense to me.
no, it makes no sense. And the deal is too is that Deshaun Deshaun getting accused by 22 different women, um, that makes I will always believe the women in that case, I guess, when you have 22 of them. Like I'm not saying that it should be a number. We should believe one woman or one person, but when
Right.
there's 22, it's like you're telling me 22 people got together and faked this. I don't know. It's just my personal logic tells me when there's smoke, there's fire. And when there's that much smoke, there's gotta be something. Like
There's got to be some flame.
maybe there wasn't like official by legal standards sexual assault, but like there was obviously pressure by him to make them do stuff that they didn't want to do.
Yeah,
At least it seems to me, given that many women. Now, again, you're right with the
that many.
innocent until proven guilty thing, and I'm with you on that. It's just from a personal belief standpoint, it's hard for me to see that many people lying, but it's obviously possible, and I'm not 100%ing it. Just how I read it, the situation.
No, I'm in agreement with you there. So, obviously, crazy news. And obviously, from football perspective, as you said, clear upgrade from Baker to Deshaun. Deshaun's amazing quarterback. So, we're not taking anything away from his
No, we're not.
on-field performance. If it was strictly based on that, as you said, the contract would make more sense given how the contracts continue to rise for quarterbacks. But given the situation, makes no sense. So I'm hating the Browns on this move right now. It's too early,
Classic
especially
Browns,
maybe not necessarily the trade being too early, but the
but the
extension
contract
way too
extension,
early.
yeah.
The contract extension way too early for that.
But I've also heard that that was part of why he waived his no trade clause for Cleveland, is because they
Yeah,
were willing to give him that guaranteed extension right
that
away.
money.
And I don't
Right.
know if that was the same case in Atlanta or New Orleans.
Well, and they
But on
also
that same
go
go
ahead.
ahead. I was just gonna say on that same front, with the Browns, with all this going on, Baker Mayfield decided to demand a trade, say he wouldn't play there anymore. This was even before they acquired Deshaun, and so obviously now that they did, Baker's on the trade market. So top fits for him that you think?
Um, I'm gonna go Colts and Seahawks being the two teams that are gonna try to make a move and get him. I think he is 100% gonna end up on one of those two teams. It's just gonna probably It's just gonna come down to who offers the Browns more, pretty much. So those would be my two quick predictions. Would be Seahawks and Colts. Obviously, both need a quarterback. So
Dark horse teams?
dark horse teams. I'm trying to think who are other teams that Saints. I would say would be the dark horse. I don't think they're gonna make a move for Jameis, but they obviously could use or Jameis Baker because they still have Jameis. But I don't know. I think that would be a dark horse team. Would be the Saints. But like I said,
Panthers?
Panthers too. Yeah. So I'd give the Saints, Panthers, two little dark horse teams to go for Baker. In my opinion, though, I got him ending up on the Seahawks or the Colts, with the Colts being slightly the number one.
Agreed. I think the Colts might give more. I also think they might want to trade Baker to the Seahawks to trade him out of conference, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, that was it
All
for
right.
NFL news, and now I think it's time to jump into our last topic, which is not really news related, but we wanted to do something a little fun today. So we did QB tiers last week, so we wanted to make some NBA tiers this week. Here are our 5 tiers: superstar, potential superstar, all-star, star, and potential star. So for those that are listening, not watching via YouTube, superstar, obviously defined by winning, not necessarily NBA championship winning, but obviously that's like the main goal. But winning in general, 50 plus win teams all the time, regular season, playoff wins, things like that. Clutch moments both in regular season and playoffs, and then the individual greatness for superstars. They need to be consistently great year in and year out. Potential superstars, these are guys pretty much on that level, but just have no significant awards, like no MVPs and nothing like that, and they haven't really won much yet. So those would be your potential superstars. Your all-star, just to make it easy for Spinny and I, we made this qualifications. They needed at least one all-star appearance. So you'll see some guys on our star list that, you could probably throw in the all-star potential or the all-star tier, but they haven't made an all-star game yet. So they're not quite there. And then also maintained relevance. They still need to be putting up all-star numbers to make it in that tier. The star tier, just your younger guys that have an established presence, already been impacting winning a little bit, have solid stats, just again haven't made an all-star game yet. And then your potential star, your young guys, years one to three, that don't have the greatest stats, usually because of limited role or opportunity. So those are our 5 tiers. We did not list injury guys like Kawhi, PG, Dame, Anthony Davis, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., Zion, Colin Sexton, and Klay Thompson. Obviously, Klay is back and playing, but since he hasn't played in 2 years, it's unfair for Spinny and I to throw him into a tier. So we left those guys off the list due to obvious injury situations. So let's just dive right into it. Potential star, some guys. Oh, by the way, on our list here, none of our guys are in order. But as you can see, we kind of tiered them off within the tier. So that's why I got 2 dashes there. And you'll kind of see that pattern going forward in our other tiers. But for our superstar and our potential star tier or potential superstar tier, we did rank them in order. But for these first couple, we did not.
And also, we're not going to go through every player on these lists. We're going to kind of
No,
pick
we're
a
just
couple
going
that
to
we
give
want
you
to.
quick little description, pretty much.
But if there's any players specifically that you want to talk about, please comment and give us like a question about that specific player, or we think it's too high, too low on that specific player. We would love to do some reaction and get some commentary back and forth on anybody you want to talk about. We were just kind of picking our favorites from this list. So please give us some feedback if there's anyone you want us to focus on, and we'll definitely give you our opinions on them.
And we just, as we were thinking of names, we just put them down. So they're in just random orders, and we obviously could have missed players because there's so many players in the NBA. So we just threw down as many names as we could think of that popped to our head. So some guys on the potential star tier, the lowest tier for me: Kyle Kuzma, Kelden Johnson, Josh Giddey, Gary Trent Jr., Jordan Poole, Wendell Carter Jr., Anthony Simons. Those are some guys I got on my list. Spinny, how about you?
Yeah, I love Giddey. You didn't have Jalen Suggs on your list. I think Jalen Suggs is on there.
I would put him in that list too.
Sadiq Bey, my Nova guy that just dropped Fetty. So that was pretty sick. 3-point specialist there. I love Anthony Simons, the opportunity he's gotten in Portland. Desmond Bane obviously plays a really good scoring role. A couple other guys, Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero's on this list for me too. He's got a chance to win Sixth Man of the Year, scoring 18 a game this year, maybe even a little more than that. Robert Williams, a guy that's taken a huge step on the defensive end, top 5 in the league in blocks this year, still only 24. I think he fits perfectly in this category. And then one difference I had was you have Jaren Jackson in the category up from this. I'm still putting Jaren Jackson here. I don't think he's proved me enough to be in the next up category.
So, yeah, first off, Jalen Suggs and Robert Williams were just not included on my list because I just forgot about them. They are definitely in this tier for me as well. So I'm in agreement with you there. Sadiq Bey, I was really impressed with him as of late. Obviously, that 50-point game, amazing. I mean, not many guys score over 50. So if you score over 50, it's clear that you got potential, star potential here. Jaren Jackson, though, I do think he's shown me enough. He's averaged 15-ish a game basically every year. This year, he's a top 5 DPOY candidate. He's got over 2 blocks a game. I think Jaren Jackson definitely shown me enough. Christian Wood and Tyler Hero also have shown me enough already. Tyler Hero, clutch playoff moments, 20-plus point, or I think he's just under 21 points per game, if I remember right, this year, which, if he finished that, would be the most ever by a sixth man, and he is going to win sixth man this year, which is why I already have him in the star category, because you get a nice – that's a big award. That's an underappreciated award, and so I got him in my star already. And Christian Wood, he's been – since he became relevant 2-3 years ago, he's been averaging like 20 and 10. So he's shown me enough as well to be in the one up. Spinny, I guess that's all I got to say about that. But Spinny, what is one name? Give me one name from your list that can make the jump to star the quickest.
Josh Giddey.
Really?
Most open playing time in OKC. I think he is obviously going to get a lot of opportunities in the coming year, and the man's averaging like 12, 9, and 8. So I think there's a huge opportunity for like playmaking ability and the ability to be a almost triple-double level guy. Maybe not as good of a scorer, but on the Luka level as far as play type. That's what I see a lot. And then we'll see. The only thing for him that really has to catch up is the shooting. If his shooting can catch up with everything else in his game, I think there's star potential here for Josh Giddey.
All right. Before I get my player, I do notice one key thing. You maybe just forgot about him. Kelden Johnson. Give me your thoughts on him. Did you just forget his name? You don't think he's at this level yet?
I don't think he's at this level yet. I haven't watched him that much. He's not a guy that I've had that much experience with, but I don't think he's at this level yet. I actually took him off on purpose. So yeah, give me why you think he is.
Well, if you just look at it from a statistics standpoint, he's putting up similar numbers to everyone on this list, if not better than some people on this list, averaging 16, 7, and 2 this year. And as of late, since the All-Star game, is averaging over 20 points a game, a couple 30-point games. He's definitely got that star potential, only 22 years old. So I would say Kelden Johnson's ceiling is probably just the next tier up, star, maybe all-star. He might make an all-star game once, but so I'm not saying he's going to be a crazy guy by any means, but to be a 22-year-old who's averaging 16, 7, and 2, multiple 30-point games on a team where you're essentially the second option behind DeJounte Murray, I think he's definitely got star potential. So that's why I got him on my list. That. And obviously biased UK guy there as well. So, and I also noticed Kuzma. You're telling me Kuzma is still not in the potential star for you?
Kuzma didn't fit this category for me. I think he's too old for this category. I would almost put Kuzma up one from this. I didn't put him in my list, but I think he almost fits up there a little better than in this category. Okay. That's why I left him off.
I got him here just because, as we said, potential star. That's a lot of guys with limited role and opportunity. Perfect example in terms of what he had to deal with on LA. He had limited role and opportunity. So Now that he's getting on the Wizards this year, he's averaging like just under 18, 7 boards, couple assists. Those are really good numbers, and he's had a lot of 20-plus point game performances, 30-plus point game performances. So I'm putting him in this potential star. I don't know if I've seen enough from him to put him in the star, but so you're saying he deserves to be on a list, though?
Yeah, I left him
Okay,
off just because I couldn't quite put him on star, but I didn't feel like he fit in this category. But he's right in here. He's right in here.
okay, okay. So I just had to ask that because if you didn't think Kuzma is a potential star yet, then that's I don't know about your basketball IQ.
Yeah, he was just a hard fit for me. So
I'm gonna say though for mine, that's gonna make this quickest jump up to at least to the star. I'm gonna go bold here. I'm gonna go Anthony Simon. Similar reasoning as you had for Giddy in terms of he's got the opportunity. He's gonna get hella minutes on a bad Thunder team or a bad Blazers team. So I'm just gonna go Anthony Simons. A little more score. He's been averaging like 18, 3 and 3 since Dame went out and multiple 30-plus point performances, even at a 40-pointer. So, yeah, I'm going to go Anthony Simons with my biggest jump.
all right, like it. Move on.
Potential star, done. Next tier up, star tier. There's a lot of guys here. Oh, by the way, if you haven't noticed, the vast majority of players fall under these first 3 tiers. So, as you'll see as we progress, there's a ton of guys that fall into these next 3 tiers. Shai Gilgeous, Ant, LaMelo, DeAndre Ayton, Darren Fox, Tyrese Halliburton, Cade Cunningham, John Collins, Russell Westbrook, RJ Barrett. Those are some guys that I threw on my star tier.
Yeah, I think Miles Bridges was good. Barnes, Maxey. As much as I hate to say it, Andrew Wiggins is on this list. Blech. Mikhail Bridges, another Nova guy. He's top 5 for DPOI conversation this year too. So
He's third right now.
Yeah, he's made a bigger leap than I thought he would. I think Draymond and Spencer Dinwiddie have fallen back to this category. OG was a hard one. I think he's maybe bottom tier of this category, but he makes some moves. One name I didn't have on this list that you did was Tobias Harris. I think Tobias Harris is probably in this category. He was another one though, like Kuzma, where I thought he was too old for potential star, but maybe not the star production, at least since they got Harden. But it's borderline, and I think he could definitely go in this category also.
I also do want to mention, since we have guys like Draymond and Wiggins on this list, that just because you made an all-star game does not put you in the all-star category or all-star tier. So that's why these guys are down here.
We're still viewing it current playing ability.
Yes.
With a little bit of like if you have a resume from the last 2 or 3 years, I'm going to give you a little bit of a boost if you're not playing well currently, but it's mostly on current with a little bit of a recency relevance.
Yep. So yeah, Westbrook, Draymond, Wiggins, all guys that have made all-star games, but all guys that are only in the star tier because obviously Westbrook and Draymond, they're older now, aren't playing like they used to, so they've dropped a little bit. And Wiggins was never even in the all-star tier. He made an all-star game, but that was just strictly based off fan vote. So Wiggins has never been in that tier. So in my opinion, so Wiggins still on this tier. I don't think he'll ever get out of this tier, to be honest.
I agree with Wiggins. I think that was a good point. We're getting a little long in the vid today, so I'm just going to jump straight into my biggest, easiest jumper here, and I think it's easy with Gilgeous-Alexander. I think he has consistently shown that he could actually be a top 2, be a 2 or a 3 on a championship team for sure. I don't know about a 1 yet, but I think he is going to be the fastest jumper, or they could be the fastest jumper. And I think you also have to throw in Ant and LaMelo, the 1-2 picks there in that draft, as guys that could easily make the jump as well.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I'm going Shai Gilgeous for the guy that'll make the jump to all-star tier the quickest. Obviously, LaMelo just made the All-Star game this year, but that was strictly based off injury, so I don't think he's quite at the All-Star tier yet either. But obviously, Ant and LaMelo just slightly behind Shy. I think I'm going to give Shy the edge here, jumping the quickest with Ant and LaMelo right behind him. A lot of these guys, as you can see, especially in our top little tier of this tier, Shy Gilgeous, Ant, Ayton, Fox, those guys, obviously Fox and Ayton, they've been doing it, but they just still haven't made an All-Star game. So they just still can't technically make that next jump. But basically everyone in that top tier of this star tier for Spinny and I, they'll be in that All-Star tier. Pretty confident saying that. So jump into the All-Star tier. Here's where we got a lot of the older guys like Butler and DeRozan. They're not superstars. They've never been superstars. DeRozan obviously having a superstar season, but still not above this tier in my eyes. Some other guys we got: Rudy Gobert, Bradley Beal, CP3, Levine, McCollum, DeJounte Murray, Ben Simmons. So you get the gist of the kind of players that we're putting in here. Obviously, all these guys have made an All-Star game. I did one interesting note, and I noticed now that you have it as well. We threw DeJounte Murray in there, even though he was technically an energy replacement, just like LaMelo. But I'm going to give it to DeJounte Murray because I personally think DeJounte Murray should have been in the All-Star game, regardless. So
agreed. I think DeJounte Murray's production with the Spurs this year and how the player he's developed into, when you didn't necessarily see that coming, I just think that development and the effect that he has on the game, I think his point guard ability and ability to run an offense is a little more mature and better than like a LaMelo or Ant. So I think that's why I put him over those type of guys. Not Ant, I meant Gilgeous and LaMelo.
Yeah.
I think that's why I gave him the edge.
This is a really interesting tier to me just because now looking at our list, I honestly don't know if any of these guys will make the jump to potential superstar. I'm not going to lie. I don't. Obviously, you would just assume your younger guys like Levine and Garland, DeJounte Murray, these younger guys. I don't know. I
think there's only 3 on this list.
Who would you be your 3?
Well, maybe 4. I think Beal was a potential superstar level. I think he was like a top 12 guy in the league at some point, and he's just came down a little bit. I think DeJounte Murray has a shot to be in that next potential superstar category. I just think it might take him a couple more years given San Antonio's lack of talent, but I think he has a shot. Kyrie, I also think was in that list, and man, when he's on and playing and there, he's a top 12 player. So it's hard for me to quantify that into a tier necessarily, but I think Kyrie at least would be the best out of all these guys if he was consistently on the floor and healthy. My one jump that I know you're going to disagree with, my last one, is Jaylen Brown. I think Jaylen Brown can develop into
not disagreeing
more of a shooter scorer. I mean, he's still averaging 23 a game this year. I could see him being a 26, 27 a game a guy at some point, which would personally moves him in the next tier for me. And it obviously depends on playoff success that Tatum and Brown end up having together and how that always goes. But I think he could move up also.
Yeah, I like the Beal and Kyrie arguments you just made. I think now that I think about it, they could still make that jump back up to potential superstar since they have obviously already been in that tier. And I also agree with the younger guys, DeJounte Murray, Jaylen Brown. Those would be 2 guys that could potentially jump up there. Obviously, DeJounte Murray close to triple-double numbers for his average. So
Ben Simmons, mark?
He could be a guy like Russell Westbrook, essentially, that, made the superstar jump because he averaged triple-doubles, things like that. Ben Simmons, I don't think is ever going to get past this tier. He might move up from my bottom of the All-Star tier to the top of the All-Star tier at some point, but I don't think he'll ever be a potential superstar, which in my eyes is essentially a top 15 player. So I don't think he'll ever be a top 15 player, but
So these are your 3s on championship teams and maybe a couple borderline 2s on championship teams here in this tier. These are guys that can do things to help you win a championship, but there's only a couple maybe that I think could be 2s on a championship team. This list.
Yeah, I would say, like your Beal, your Kyrie obviously for sure, since he has a ring.
He's done it.
And
he's done it.
yeah,
He's been
he's
to a
literally done
championship
it.
team. Yep.
And Butler too, I would say, because he was the one on the Heat team that made it to the finals, and they're the 1 seed again this year. So I'd say Butler could also potentially be a 1 or 2. All right, that was the All-Star tier. Now as you're going to be able to see, we're slimming down on guys. So here we got potential superstar tier. These are your younger guys, usually 25, 24 to 27, that just haven't really won any major awards or major playoff winning yet, but they're right behind those superstar guys. As you can see, we have the exact same players here. Only difference being we got Ja and Donovan Mitchell switched. So for these last 2 tiers, we did actually put them in order, right? You put yours in order, right? Didn't you?
Yep.
Yeah. So we have them in order here in terms of who we think is the best player, which that means Spinny and I are both in agreement that Jason Tatum will be the player out of this tier that's going to make the jump to superstar the quickest. Obviously, Booker, he's made the finals. So there's those two, Tatum and Booker, I honestly think could make the jump to superstar by the end of this season, which is already crazy to say. But if they make playoff runs, I don't see why not. They already obviously have the stats to back up.
If the Suns, which they have probably the best chance to, if the Suns win the championship or get to the finals again, and Booker's averaging 25 plus a game, he's probably a superstar. At that point, when you can make runs like that back-to-back years in a row, that puts you on that level. I just put Tatum a little bit over, I guess. Honestly, it's almost just because of his size and his ability to shoot over anyone at any time. Booker and him are very equal, I think, in scoring ability. They both are amazing at scoring and are hard to differentiate between. It's just the Nets Celtics game from this year, from a few weeks ago. A big example to me. He was going bucket for bucket with Kevin Durant and making shots that are literally unguardable, whether it's threes with guys right in his face or that mid-range pull-up situation where there's been a few games this year where he's given me that KD vibe where he can walk up, do one little hezzy dribble move and get a shot on anybody. And that's a superstar thing.
That's superstar level, 100%. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm in agreement with you there. Just Tatum's style of play, and yeah, he's obviously already made an Eastern Conference Final 2 in his career. So yeah, I just think that gives him the slight edge over Booker. Obvious other guys here like Trae Young, he made the Eastern Conference Finals last year. Obvious individual greatness stats there. John Morant balling out this year, absolutely 2 seed right now in the West, which I do believe is actually 2 overall. I'm not sure if they're ahead of the Heat, but so don't quote me on that. But obviously, John Morant belongs in this category, this tier. Donovan Mitchell, he's been doing it for a couple of years now, and Jazz are usually a 50-win team in the playoffs, are usually choking playoffs, 50-win regular season. So I think he belongs here. He might take a little longer than some of these other guys. And I know some of you are going to hate with Karl Anthony Towns on this list. Get in my mentions then. If you don't think Karl Anthony Towns belongs in this tier, you need to be in my mentions because I will absolutely roast you. This is absolutely ridiculous amount of hate Cat gets. And especially the way he's been playing this year, you can tell he's got a different chip on his shoulder. He's playing with different intensity. And he is definitely a guy that can make that jump. And as you can see, we have 5 guys alone on this tier rated ahead of him. Plus, we both have like 8 guys on the superstar tier. And there was like 8 guys we didn't even list. So he belongs on this tier. Everyone we listed, that would put him at like the 14th or 15th best player, which if you don't think Cat's top 20, top 15, you're dumb. You don't know basketball. Cat's a god.
Yeah, I gotta just. There's a lot of mainstream media hate on Cat. There's been a few NBA rankings and tier lists and stuff that have come out. ESPN had him about the right level, but a lot of experts put him in the 20s, 23 to 25. Cat's
So
better than that.
disrespectful.
Cat's 16 to 18 in the league as far as best players go. He's a beast. He's a machine. We're obviously both biased, but I definitely see a difference in Cat. The biggest problem I used to have with Cat is that he was scared or just didn't care enough or
his
just
mentality.
bleh. Yeah. And that has changed a lot this year. And I will give him tons of credit for that. So if we can actually win a playoff series this year, if the Wolves can win a playoff series, then I think we'll really get more people on the Cat bandwagon here. But I think Cat is definitely here given production level.
Yeah, given production level, he's definitely here. It'll take, and that's why he was last on my list, is because winning wise, he obviously hasn't done much. So it'll take him a little bit in that regard to jump superstar, and I don't necessarily know if he even will jump superstar. But
I don't know if any other 7-footer has ever shot 40% from three for a season other than Kevin Durant. But other than him, I don't know if, and KD's obviously not a big like Cat, but I don't know if any other big has ever shot 40% from three, a guy 7-footer over. So
you're a walking double, averages over 20 every year, shoots over 40% from three.
On three threes a game at least.
Yeah. Too. Best shooting big man of all time. He is 100% a top 20 player and 100% potential superstar tier. So that's my little rant about Cat, but I had to throw that in there because I knew some of you were going to be like, what? Just furious over this, which is mind-boggling to me because Cat is that guy. Superstar. These are the top players in the league. I obviously like guys like Kawhi and Dame would both be on the superstar tier for my list. I don't think any of the other guys we left off would be. Those two for sure would be on my superstar tier. So that would make my list 10. Who else were you going to mention?
Who did you say? Dame and who?
Kawhi. Dame and Kawhi are superstars. We just left them off because injuries. But I noticed we're in pretty much exact same agreement in terms of rankings here. We both have LeBron fifth best player right now. Both have Giannis first. Little flip flop KD Jokic, but that's obviously just nitpicking with those top guys. And yeah, I think Curry, Harden, Doncic is the way to end it. Some of you guys will use our same logic about Tatum and Booker. For Luka, I just think the skill wise, the individual greatness wise, is just on another level for Luka. So that's why I'm already giving the superstar. He obviously hasn't won anything yet and no major awards either. But to be the 5 seed this year in the crowded West with that roster, I think that's something only Luka would do out of that potential superstar list. He's obviously had playoff teams every year that he's been in the league, and he had the really clutch series against the Clippers where he almost beat the Clippers, took them to 7 games, was better than Kawhi and PG in that series. So that's why we threw Luka on the superstar list. I don't think there's, honestly, unless you have some other thoughts, Spinny, there's not much debate here. There's the Luka is the thing you could debate, but all these other guys are clear-cut superstars that have MVPs or NBA championships already. So
yeah, everyone on this list has a championship or an MVP other than Luka. And like we
said, Joel
Luka,
too. Joel doesn't either, but his production.
Joel doesn't either, but Joel's gonna probably win the MVP, or at least has a good shot to win the MVP this year. And he's obviously been in the conversation for MVP before this. I don't think people are having a problem with Joel. Giannis at the top is just because he's still doing his thing and he won the championship last year. You know, you win the championship and you come out and ball nation, you're gonna be the top.
DPOY.
Jokic and Embiid obviously having the crazy years. I just view Kevin Durant's shot making ability, give him a little edge over Jokic. But yeah, these are the top guys. I think that's pretty agreed upon. So
yeah, I mean, you can't. I'm not really a Giannis guy, but you can't really argue with him. He's got 2 MVPs, DPOY, likely a second DPOY this year, and a ring. So, and like Spinny said, to come back out after just winning the ring and be a top 3 MVP candidate once again, he's clearly the best player in the league. So, yeah, that's it for that. Those are our NBA tiers. Just definitely drop comments on if we had guys in different tiers that you thought, or just your overall thoughts about our tiers. Just drop comments below and let us know what you think about what we had to say there.
And organization-wise too, if you think we could have split the tiers differently, let us know on
Right.
that too. We're always open
Yeah.
to changing up. I think NBA tiers is something like quarterbacks that we're going to do on the fairly regular basis to try to keep an idea updated going for you
Yeah.
guys and hold ourselves accountable. So if you want to kind of try to change our format or how the tiers are constructed, give us some rips on that too.
All right. Well, that was it for episode 7 in terms of actual content, actual topics for you guys. So
now I can relax.
we obviously got a little long in this episode too, but I think in terms of rambling on, I don't think we really did much. I think we were pretty solid throughout this episode. Sorry for those that don't want to listen this long, but that's why we hyperlink each segment so you can jump to the segments you for sure want to listen to. So let's just finish off quickly with Q&A. Get these guys out of here. Both questions come from my high school buddy Dan Tim. I thought these were good questions. So first one, thoughts on the NFL posting the job for chief gambling executive only a couple days after suspending Calvin Ridley for the entire season for gambling. My initial thoughts, that's just straight bullshit. So we're just going to let there be employees that are in charge of gambling and NFL is affiliated with a lot of these gambling websites and stuff. So it's funny to me that they're trying to make money off of it, the NFL as a whole, but they're going to suspend their players for doing it. So obviously, I get it's illegal. Obviously, we had that spiel with Calvin Ridley already, and he messed up. But still, it's funny to me on a league level that they're promoting gambling, but then they suspend their own players. So, Spinny, what are your thoughts about
that? I just feel like there has to be some nuance to it, right? Calvin Ridley sitting at home betting on games that he has no way to influence is different than betting on your own games or betting on opposing teams' games and throwing it. Like obviously these are different things. But the NFL has to go on all in and gambling. They've been doing that. That's how they make money. I don't blame them at all for that. Obviously, the optics of it look sketchy, but I think the fix is more getting some nuanced rules with players gambling as opposed to the NFL getting out on gambling, because obviously that has to happen. But the NFL is so scared of throwing games or influencing the outcome of games based on gambling, which I get. So it just has to be a little more nuance to it. And I hate to give a little more nuance and then not give any ideas. I don't have any ideas off the top of my head. So sorry about that, Roast Nation. But I think that's the solution. There's a million guys at the NFL smarter than me that could come up with a better solution for that, I think.
For sure. Agreement there. So, Dan, those are thoughts on that. Why don't you should text one of us, DM us, let us know your thoughts as well. I'm interested in knowing what you guys have to think about this issue here. Our second question, he obviously had to roast me a little bit here, so I had to throw it on there. It's acceptable at this point. Was Bus wrong saying Kentucky is better than Duke? Spinny, why don't you give them that answer?
Yes! I'll sing you the answer just so you can not be the only one being embarrassed. But yeah, Duke's better than Kentucky. I mean, it's tough. I mean, obviously Duke got easier matchups. Obviously, St. Peter's is a real team. And if you played them against each other, who knows? I think Kentucky matches up well and Duke has matchup problems. But Duke's in the Sweet 16 and Kentucky lost in the first round. So, merch.
Yeah, I will say Kentucky this year, regular season-wise, had a better year than Duke. They were better in the regular season. But as we know, teams that are on the same tier like that, you truly base them and rank them based off their clutch and playoff performances. So for Kentucky to lose in the first round and for Duke to already be in the Sweet 16, it's clear that Duke was the real team there. So I'm sure this part of the video is probably going to get recorded by all my friends that are Duke fans so that they can hold this against me forever.
Go.
But this one season, Kentucky was not better than Duke. So
you should have added that in the middle of the quote, not at the end, but it's okay.
All right, because now they're going to cut it off.
Yeah, right. Now they're going to cut it off. One last thing I want to say, and not that these guys need my 100-view podcast approval, but this is more for the listeners. If you're athletic subscribers, check out Jason Jinks and Mike Sando's article on Urban Meyer. It's nuts. The culture and all this stuff. They have players roasting him. DJ Chark's commented.
Absolutely insane what that guy did.
Some of the things that he did in Jacksonville there are nuts and crazy.
Give
the
listeners one quick crazy thing that they did so they can get interested reading this article.
Yeah, one. I'm just going to use a quote from DJ Chark. Chark says Meyer routinely threatened to fire coaches and cut players. He feels like threats are what motivates, quoted Chark. I know he would come up to us and tell us if the receivers weren't doing good, he wasn't going to fire us. He was going to fire our coach. And he would usually say that when the coach was around. So just some toxic stuff from Urban Meyer. And that honestly wasn't even the craziest thing. So
it wasn't.
Way more not knowing who Aaron Donald was in game plan meetings.
Who Aaron Donald was.
There's some other very crazy stuff. Making DJ Chark practice despite breaking his finger, and then he had to have surgery. Many, many things. Give the article a read. It's crazy. Super insane that this is allowed to happen in the NFL. And Urban Meyer should and probably won't ever get an NFL coaching job again.
Nope, he won't. So, yeah, go check that article out. Well, that was it. Thank you guys for listening. Once again, episode 7 is in the books. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you guys next week. Shout out T-Wolves, 6th seed right now. We running.